everybody, it's Cindy here from Hooked on Crafts, and I wanted to drop by today to share with you my first fall market results. Um, I'm so sorry, this is really late. My market was actually September 1st. Today is the 22nd. So it's been almost 3 full weeks since I had my market. My market was on a Sunday, and I want to talk a little bit about the venue and how setup went. And I did get a few videos throughout the day, but not many. I did this market by myself. My daughter did stop by and help me for about 3 hours in the morning. So this is not a market I've done before. It was at our state fairgrounds. For those of you who don't know, I live in Illinois, near Springfield, and we have the big state fair here every year. So this was on our fairgrounds, and there are several buildings throughout the fairgrounds. Now, I'm not a huge fair goer, so I wasn't exactly 100% sure which building we were going to be in before I got there, but I was kind of familiar. I knew it was towards the front of the main gates, and it was one of the first two or three buildings right there. So what I didn't know was this building did not have air conditioning in it. Um, Lucky for me, it was only in the 80s that day. I want to say about 85, 86, which is still pretty warm when you're there all day. And um, I just wasn't prepared for that. They had huge fans going, so don't get me wrong. It's not like I was dying out there. I was so hot. So the fans really helped. Please forgive me if I have to stop and pause. My allergies are really bad. The pollen count is really high here. Ragweed's really high here, and I have really bad allergies. So just kind of bear with me. I'll try not to cough too often, but it happens. So, anyways, back to the venue. It was the first time I'd done this venue. It is the first Sunday Midwest Bazaar is who puts this show on, and they do 3 shows every year. And I signed up for 2 of them. I signed up for the one in September, and I signed up for one in December. So I still have one to go. Now the one in December is in a different building, and I think it has heat in air. I honestly am not sure. I've been in that building several times for different shows. We like to go to the gemstone show that's there. I've been in there for a couple craft shows, but I honestly don't remember because I was probably dressed for it. If it was cold outside, I had a jacket on. If it was warm, I had my shorts on, so I didn't notice it as much. So we were not in air conditioning. Luckily, it was a beautiful weekend. It wasn't too hot. Previously, it had been like in the 90s, extremely hot. So I felt pretty lucky that it was such a mild day. Had it been in the 90s, I probably would have been down for the count. Um, I'll tell you what, the older I get, the more I realize how hard it is to do these markets, the setup, the takedown. Um, just talking to people for 8 hours. I'm just not used to that anymore. So, yeah. So I was lucky enough to have my husband and my son help me with the heavy stuff, all the tables, all the crates. They helped me get everything in. I got my tablecloths on the tables. I got those set up. My son helped me get my wire grid together, and then we were good to go. They headed out, and I was there to set up the rest of my stuff. Now, I've been preparing for 3 markets this season, and I've got over, I don't know, $3,000-4,000 worth of inventory stocked up. And I took everything because I'd never done this show before. I didn't know how busy it was going to be. So yeah, I wanted to make sure I had enough stuff. Now, that being said, I am going to insert a clip of what my setup looked like. I honestly, looking back, think I had way too much stuff on my table. It seems too cluttered, too jam-packed, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. And you'll see my tablecloths are blowing. I have just a regular heavy tablecloth that are fitted for these tables. I don't have the kind that are stretchy that stick on the bottoms of the feet, um, just because I like to put my bags underneath my table and I don't like that to show. And I feel like those stretchy ones, they kind of do an arc, and in the middle you can see whatever's under your table, and I just don't like the look of that. So I've decided that to stay with my cloth tablecloths that are kind of old fashioned, but they do the job. They're just black, and you can see them blowing in the wind a little bit on my video. But I'm going to insert a clip here to show you what my setup looked like at the very beginning. So with the fans and stuff, I maybe have to do a voiceover on those videos. We'll see when I get in. But the fans were pretty loud, and you couldn't hear me a lot over the fans. So just bear with me. It's just a visual anyway. So I may play music over it. I may talk over it and let you know what was going on. We did have all day Saturday to set up for the most part. I did like the people that were putting on this show. They were very nice. They were very informative. They sent us out an email like a week or so before, giving us the lowdown on when we could set up, where we could park, what we needed to do once we got our cars unloaded, where we could move to park. They were very strict on please do not start taking your stuff down early, um, that kind of thing, which is not a big deal for me. I was there for the long haul, anyways, and I had enough stuff. I knew I wasn't going to sell out. And even if you did sell out, you had to leave your tables up and put a sign up saying that you sold out. So it was a pretty busy show. This show did allow people, resale people, to be in there. So we had Scentsy, we had I saw a bunch of people carrying around metal signs, and I don't think those were homemade. I think they were purchased and they were reselling those. So I saw a lot of that. I honestly, since I was there by myself, did not have a chance to walk around and look at other people's booths. I was pretty busy, pretty steady throughout the day. Um, so, yeah. So, this is, you saw what we look like at the very beginning. I would say the morning was really, really pretty slow, honestly. Probably about Haley left about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and that's really when it started picking up, which I kind of figured that because I've done 2 day shows before where it's Saturday and Sunday. And on Sunday, we always are off to a slow start. I think a lot of people go to church and they like to have lunch, and then they come and do their shopping, or, they're looking for things to do to get them out of the house, or whatever. This was a show that you had to pay to get in. So that is a little bit different than what I've done before. Typically, I do shows where it's just free to come in and walk around. That being said, I feel like there weren't near as many kids running around at this show as my previous shows. And maybe it's because they didn't want to pay to have them go in, and then they knew they would want stuff when they got there. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just this venue. Maybe there just aren't as many little kids in that area up north. So I'm not really sure. But I will tell you, the very first day, I had a young lady, and she was probably about 9, and she was adorable. This is when I was doing my setup, and she kept coming by with her friend, and her mom, I think, was one of the people that helped put this show on. And she was riding around on her scooter. It was a very big haul. I don't know if I got a wide shot of everybody, but it was a pretty big haul. I was a little disappointed though because we were right by the main gates, and for some reason the main gates were broke or something, and they weren't open. And I don't know if that detoured people from finding us, because it's just really easy. Typically, you just drive in that main gate and you're a couple buildings down, and there's a place to park on the side of the street. There was a parking lot, and people could come in. But without the main gate being open, you kind of had to go in one of the other gates and then find your way around to that. And I'm not sure it was marked really well. um, I don't know. I don't know if that affected it or not. And the gentleman that I was sitting by, that I was talking to, um, he had only done the show once before, and he thought it was a pretty good turnout. And I think it was a pretty good turnout. Um, I, I don't know. I don't know how I feel totally about this show. Anyways, back to Ruby. Ruby was riding around. She was 9, and she comes by, and she's got her bag with her, and she starts to tell me that she's learning to crochet, and she shows me a couple things that she's made. One's a little cheesecake, and she had a egg, over sunny side up egg that she had made, and she was just adorable. And she's looking at my stuff and looking at my stuff, and she's talking to me, and and then her mom calls her back, and not to bother me, and she's on her way. And then the next day, as we're doing the show, I had made Gouda Tuma. I'll put the name up here. But anyways, he's the lazy egg. He's like anime. And I was showing her that the one that I had made, and I didn't put him out because I had so much stuff and my table was cram packed. So I showed her the one that I made, and she knew exactly who he was, and she loved him, and she collected them. I guess that's one of the things that she liked to collect and buy. So it was just cute. So on to day 2, she stops by my booth, and she says, "Did you already sell your egg?" And I said, "Oh no, hon, I didn't put him out. My table was too full." She says, "Well, would you want to trade for him?" And so she brings me her little cheesecake that she has made, and a cup of tea. How cute. So, of course, I'm going to trade with her. Any little girl who she went home and made the cup of tea so she would have something to trade, and she had already showed me the little cheesecake. Now, she's 9, right? She's 9. Her stitches look pretty dang good. Uh, she's got cardboard on the tops to keep them flat. I'm not sure. She does have a little bit of stuffing, but she probably didn't. Her mom and dad probably didn't buy her a ton of stuffing. But aren't they just adorable? I am going to cherish them forever. She was so sweet. Um, honestly, I wish I would have had a little kit made up with maybe some of the just Chanel yarn and a couple of eyes, and some directions written out. I might try to do that for my next show. Have a couple little kits made up, for anybody who stops by that likes to crochet or is interested in learning to crochet. And I mean, I don't know. It's not my thing, but I would have loved to have some plushy yarn for her to take home with some stuffing, and so she could make her own little stuffy with everything, make it look exactly like mine. I just think she would have loved that. So I'm going to work on that for next time. So, anyways, so let's just start. Let's insert a clip here of what my booth looked like. I think it was about 11:30, 12 o'clock, somewhere in there. I'll put the timestamp up here. Like I said, it's been 3 weeks, so I have all that on my video. I can check to see what time it was. So here's what my booth looked like about 4 hours in. It was like from 8 to 4 was our venue. So this is about 4 hours in, and honestly, I was getting a little worried because I had sold some things, but not a lot of things at this point. So here's what my booth looked like. Okay, this is the 11 o'clock check-in. Smile, Haley. Okay, so as you can tell, I had not moved a lot of things. So let's get into what I did sell and what I didn't sell. Now, I will tell you that my biggest winners, and I'm going to insert some pictures probably over here. I don't know, wherever it fits best on the video, of what they look like and what my biggest winners were. Forgive me, I'm looking down at my piece of paper where I kind of wrote things down. I will say my number one seller were loaf cats. Loaf cats, loaf cats, loaf cats. You'll see I had a little Amazon box that we had gotten, and I wrote on there kittens, $10. Now, keep in mind I do loosely use the Annie Caraway pattern for my loaf cats, but hers are they turn out really big, and I like to keep my price points down, so I wanted mine to be about $10. So I made them in a smaller version, same basic pattern, just less stitches in the round, honestly. Um, so I sold every loaf cat that I had. And I had 13, and I thought 13 would get me at least through 2 shows. So I've been making loaf cats like a crazy person. Another thing that did really well for me were ghosts. I sold all the ghosts. I think I might have one left. I'm sorry, I'm the world's worst vlogger, market recap person. I have not done an inventory. I was exhausted when I got home, and my bags sat in my car for a whole day before I even got them out and unpacked really. And I just haven't sat down and done a thorough inventory, and I don't know that I honestly will. I kind of have an idea of what I sold, what I didn't sell, and I'll try to remake those. But like I said, I had prepared for 3 markets, so I had quite a bit of stuff. But I knew that ghosts and bats, spiders, all of that would really only be a one shot for the Halloween market. So for the fall market for the one I just did. So luckily I sold all, but I think one ghost, and I think I had like 10 or 11 of those made up. I had the one that looked like the cat. He sold right away. But people love the ghost. They love the ghost, and they love the little jumping spiders. So I sold all but one of my jumping spiders. I think I have 5 of those to begin with. So about 10 ghosts, 5 jumping spiders. I sold 0 bats. I don't know if it was how I had them displayed. I kind of think it was their wings, because it was hard to show what they really were and spread their wings out on the table. I did kind of move them around as I sold all the cats and I sold the ghost, and everything started disappearing. I kind of brought them out to the front of the table so more people could see them, but I did not. Okay, guys, this is the 2 o'clock check-in. The kitties have been a big hit. Elephants, not so much. Still got my great big dragon. One single ghost. So I'm just going to kind of go down my list. Axolotls, I sold 2. I sold those for $15 each. I had one little Baymax made, and I sold him. I always like to make the Baymax, but I don't do a ton of them. They're not super popular, but I seem to sell one almost every show. So bees, I sold like 2 or 3 bees, and I was surprised because I haven't made any new bees for a while, and I kind of was thinking about phasing them out, but I did sell several bees. People still are enjoying the bees, I guess. The little booty frogs, I sold probably 4 or 5 of those. People got a kick out of those. They love those. That and my little booty turtles. I sold several of those, and they were $10 each. I think I sold two turtles and maybe like 4 or 5 frogs. I sold quite a few frogs. So I sold one little budgie. My little flockers, and I'll get to those, they weren't a huge hit. I was hoping they were going to do better because I like making those, but they were not. So like I said, I sold all the cats I had. I had 13. I had one cat in a box, and it was a different pattern. And I only made one of this one because I don't know, I didn't enjoy making it. I do like the way the cat turns out, but it wasn't my favorite pattern. But I may try it again. You never know. Sometimes you're just in a mood and things don't go right. So I'll try it again because I do really like the way that cat turned out. And I thought she was very ingenious on how she was uh, constructed her pattern, because it was really no sew, and how she did it, I think, was really smart. I did sell a couple chickens, 2 or 3 chickens. Not a huge hit. I did have some little $5 chickens. Now I sold all of those I had, but my bigger chicken, I call them really a medium size. They're not the great big ones like I see a lot of people make, but they're more the medium size. And I sell them for $10 because they whip up so fast, and I don't know, they're just really easy to make, and bada bing, bada boom, you got them done. I'm sorry if you hear all the noise. My dog is running around today like a crazy person. Hopefully you won't hear that with my mic. Um, the flockers, the little flockers, I only sold 2 of those. I sold one redbird, which I only had one redbird, which he was my favorite. I liked him the most. And then I sold, I think, a bluebird. So a couple of those. My little Grinches that I made, I sold every one of those. I had 4 of those. Those were $15 each. So I probably could have sold a few more of those if I would have had them. So I've got to stock up. So I would like to have at least 10 of those when I go into my show in November. So I've got to get busy and make a few more of the baby Grinches. The little Octos, I sold 2, not a huge hit. But people were still kind of looking at them. They liked the new version that I had. I sold one of those and one of the older versions. So pigs, I sold 4 different pigs. Pigs usually do pretty well for me, and I really enjoy making that pattern too. It's no sew, it whips up really quick, and I think they're cute. I sold 2 of the $10 snakes. So I have the big, large snakes that I sell for $20 each, and then I made the ones with no stuffing in them, if you remember, and I'll try to put a picture of them up here. Um, I sold 2 of those, so those did pretty well. I sold my Snorlax, and Snorlax was the biggest item that I sold at this fair. He was $40, and I sold him pretty early in the day. And then I did have a vendor who wanted to see how she did, and she was going to come back around, and she came back at the end of the show, and I'd already sold him. So I promised her that I would make 1 or 2 for the next time I was there in December, for her. And I told her I would also be at my show in November too. So if she wants to stop by, I'll try to get a couple of those made, but I think those are going to be pretty good sellers. And he is really cute. Um, and I like Pokemon. So he did take a little while to make because he's pretty big, and you'll see him in the pictures. But he did pretty good. Spiders, I sold all my spiders. My T-Rex, I had 2 sizes of T-Rex. I had the larger size and the medium size. I sold 3 of the medium-sized ones. Stacy makes little tumbler keychain. Actually, I didn't end up putting it on a keychain. I just put it in my $5 bed. I sold both of those. I had 2. I had an orange one and I think it was green or blue that I'd made with the Dollar Tree, just Chanel. I sold 2 turtles. I love the turtles. I kind of thought I would sell more turtles, but I didn't. I sell them for $20, so they're kind of a higher price point, but I think they're worth $20, so I'm keeping them at that. I sold 2 of my little weenie dogs. I had only made 2, and they went really fast in the early in the show, and I was surprised by that. So I'm going to try to do a few more dogs for my next show, but for sure the little weenie dog. Um, and that was a free tutorial here on YouTube that I found, and it's really a keychain. I just made it bigger with the plush yarn and the bigger hook. Patrick Star. If you remember a while back, I made Patrick with, he's got a thong on and his booty's hanging out. Booty was the theme for this show, apparently. But yeah, he sold. I probably sold about 10 keychains, and I probably sold about 10 pocket pals. I sold one of my alligators. Now, I only had 3 alligators, and I don't know that I will make any more. They just haven't been a huge hit with me. So let's see here. I sold 2 of my puffer fish, and I sold 1 large T-Rex. So for the grand finale, I'm going to, first, before we do that, I'll show you what my booth looked like at the very end of the day. Now, keep in mind, I had lots of stock underneath the tables, and as I sold things, I would sometimes bring other things up just to keep my table looking full. So here's what my table looked like at the end of the day. Okay, so this is what it looks like on about 10 minutes before we close. Okay, so I will say I took more cash at this show than typically I do, and less on my square. But my square worked really well at this venue. They had a Wi-Fi password. I think that helped. At my other show that I do in November, I'm in the basement, so sometimes my square doesn't work that great. But hopefully, I mean, it does the job. It just is a little finicky down in the basement. So, anyways, my grand total for the day, and if you're adding this stuff up, it may not be exact because, like I said, I am the worst at keeping track. And I was there by myself, and if it was busy, I'm just going off memory. Okay. So my total dollars were $930. So that's a pretty good day, I think. Um, Definitely worth going and being there. My booth fee was $80. So that gave me $850 in sales. $850 in sales. Minus my square fee, which I will have to look up and I'll put it up here. And honestly, that was it. So I think my square fee was right around $15. It wasn't too much because, like I said, I took about $500 in cash, and I only took 3 something. Again, I'll put it up here. I believe it was only 300 and some odd dollars in square fees. So way more cash and not as much square fee. Um, but yeah, so a very successful market. I know what I need to work on. Grinches, cats, love cats. Love cats were a huge hit. People loved them. I did have somebody come up and ask if I would be interested in making black cats. People wanted black cats, and I only had 2 or 3 black cats, but if I would have had 6 or 7, I would have sold every one because people wanted black cats. I don't know if it was for Halloween. I don't know if they just like black cats. I don't know, but they wanted black cats. And the lady that was talking to me, um, they had a new age shop, and they were interested in putting black cats in their shop. I just really don't have the time for that, so I probably will not do that. And I don't know that I could go much lower on my price than $10. And honestly, I'm doing good to keep up with the demand of my shows at that price. So I probably will not do that, but I do appreciate them loving my cats, and they bought several from me. So yeah, I had a good show, a good show. So I honestly, for about a week and a half, I didn't touch any crochet. I was tired. My daughter's birthday was in there. We went to Chicago for the weekend, so I've been really busy, and I haven't crocheted a lot. Um, I did buy myself a new toy with some of my money, and it's a 3D printer if you've never done any 3D printing. So I've been playing with it and spending a lot of time working with that, and I'm really enjoying that. So yeah, I just had something else to keep me busy, and now it's time to buckle down and get some of my crochet stuff done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. If you see anything in my setup that you think I could do better, or you think, you have a great idea of how you display something, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. I would love to hear your take on how my setup looked and how you would make it better. Your thoughts about everything. And again, the highlight of my day was trading for my cheesecake and tea. So, yeah, I hope everybody has a great day. I hope you're doing well with your fall markets. Um, the best advice I could give anybody who's just starting out, I would say, is concentrate on the lower priced items. We all love to make the big items. My dragon got looked at. It was my showstopper piece. It got looked at a lot, but I have $100 on that dragon, and I don't know that I will come down on it because I love that dragon, and he took me a long time, and I'm just not going to sell him for. I might go down to 75. That would be the lowest I would sell him for. Um, and really, they didn't look at my big items very much. It's the 10, 15, maybe 20, maybe 20. In my area, they love the little keychains, the $5 keychains, the $5 pocket pals, the $10 ghost, the $10 cats. I try to keep all of my stuff in that $10 to $15 range. That's what sells the best. People don't mind. They may spend $30 or $40, but they have 3 or 4 kids or 3 or 4 people they're buying for. So they want it to be affordable enough so that they can buy everybody one. I did have a little boy who was really cute come up, and he had a little brother who was probably 2, maybe 3, and he was wanting to buy him a little stuffy. And he had $3, and so he talked his mom into giving him the other 2. And so he came over and picked him up. I think it was a little octo. Not 10 minutes later, that little boy's back at my booth. And he's like, my brother already lost his thing, and I just let him have another one because he was so sweet. He was spending his hard-earned money, and he was trying to get one for his brother. And you know what? Even if they found it later and it was in his car seat, I really don't care. It made that little kid happy. It made everybody happy. So hey, uh, that's kind of why I do what I do. So yeah. So let me know, how are your fall markets going? What are your best sellers? If you're going to any shows before Halloween, Ghost, and the little jumping spiders. They did pretty well for me. I've seen a few videos where people are putting the little witch hats on Ghost. I wish I would have done that. I think they would have loved that. So yeah, I did really well with Ghost. Now I wouldn't go crazy and make 30 of them, but for sure 5, 10. I think you would. Even if you have to sit on them for a year, it's not that big of a deal. They work up really easy. it's worth a shot. I love the ghost. I sold several ghosts last year. And I didn't even have a show before Halloween last year. So the ghosts are cute and people like them. So yeah, do a few ghosts. Loaf cats. If you can make them smaller and more affordable, I think, I don't know, some people sell the big ones really well. So I can't say because I didn't have any of that size, but I would say if you can concentrate on your $10 to $15, 5, $10, $15 items, maybe it's 8 and 12 for you, depending on your location. Around here, I like to keep things simple for me if I have to make change. So I'm doing 5, 10, and 15, and that's just my pricing strategy. Um, the little chalkboards that I write on, I like using those so that I don't have to tag every single item. I don't want to have to tag every single $10 item. The bigger items, I'll put a price point on because I only have one or two of those. But the smaller items where I've got 15, 20 of them, I like using those little chalkboards. The only bad thing is they don't weigh very much. And with all the big, huge fans that were going in this venue, it would blow them over sometimes. But I just go over and pick them up. People are going to pick your stuff up. People want to touch it. They want to feel it. That's what sells it. If you're someone who doesn't like people touching your stuff, I don't know if this is the business for you, honestly, because kids want to come in and they want to touch it. Even adults, they want to touch it and feel it and feel how soft it is. And they want you to talk to them and they want, make small talk. The best thing you can do to help sell your stuff is be very personable and authentic with people. Let them know. If somebody asks me if it's a pattern and I know the pattern, if they crochet, I'm going to tell them they're not going to buy my stuff anyways. They're just stopping to look in and, hopefully appreciating the work and the workmanship that I do. But yeah, um, you know, help a sister out. Tell her where you got it. Tell her what your things are. Yeah, she may be at a show later, but you know what? There's enough for all of us to go around. So that's my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed my market recap video. I'm sorry it was so late. Yeah, it's just life happens, and honestly, just is what it is. Have a great day. Let me know what you're working on for your markets, what sold well for you. Talk to you next time.